Hey everyone, Edward West Summers. So, Thor Ragnorok has been out on Netflix for a while now. Figured after it being on there, I think since March, I believe, that I'd check it out. I mean, it wasn't really a movie I was excited for when it was coming out. I'm not hugely into Thor, but I figured just why not. So throughout the movie I wrote basically cliff notes, small thoughts about what I thought about, like, just at different times in the movie. Like, I had my phone on writing little comments down while watching the movie about what I thought. There was a few things I liked, but I know that anybody would say that I'm just some MCU hater and all this other crap, and that I'm just automatically giving a negative whatever on the film. I wasn't expecting too much. But I don't know. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm automatically going to hate it because I'm not a big fan of all of the MCU movies. There were a few things I liked, so I guess I'll just get started with this. So, first thing I wrote was, it had an odd way of starting the film. I thought it was very odd. It reminded me, later in the film, of almost a Suicide Squad, that it just jumps in. There's no beginning scene, really. It's Thor trapped in some peculiar, interesting, I guess, looking cage, narrating about how he got there or something, talking about it. I think he said something, he was fighting Surtur or something, or going to see him, I don't know. I just thought that was, like, it wouldn't have been too hard to do, like, maybe, a 5-minute scene of him arriving there and then getting captured. At least then there's a beginning, but there wasn't. You see the Marvel Studios logo and it just jump cuts to that. I thought that was awkward. I wrote the rock song they used at the beginning was out of place, kinda, for a Thor film, as well as Thor's jokes to Surtur, or whatever his name, I think that's the name. But I guess they need to be a bit more comedic since the first two films were mixed. Yeah, the first two films, they were more serious. They figured we need to do something with this franchise, or do something with this particular series, and make money off of it, especially after how polarizing the Dark World was. And they also used the rock song at the end. Oh, I know the name, it's a popular song, I forgot. Next thing I wrote, Doctor Strange's cameo was great. I didn't realize watching it until near the end, and I'll just read it off now. I just realized something. In the post-credit scene for Doctor Strange, they show Thor, and he mentioned seeing Strange for a mission. I assumed he was referring to this movie, but Strange only had that cameo scene at the beginning. I guess it's a good thing I didn't see either film in theaters. I would have been cheated out of my money thinking Strange would have a big role in this. And then again, I guess in the movie's defense, he wasn't in, at least I don't think, I can look at the cast names right here, he's not even on the poster, or in the cast names on the poster. Well, that sucks. Thinking Strange would have a big role in this. He did have a scene, so there were clips, so there could have been something. Hell, I still feel cheated since I actually love Doctor Strange and was hoping he would have a major role in this. I guess despite the inconsistency, it's in the MCU, therefore it's perfect. That's how some people are. It just gets tiring. It gets tiring. That's why, I mean, there's only a few films that I'm not even somebody, I don't fully hate the MCU. I love the Marvel Netflix shows. I loved Runaways. Really surprised me because I was, with it being labeled the OC of the MCU, I wasn't expecting much, but it actually surprised me. And I've been trying to watch through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I finished season 1, I'm in season 2 now. I'm gonna try to get back into it soon. Hopefully I can finish season 2 before Iron Fist season 2 comes out. Because I've been kind of watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the breaks between, after I finish a Marvel Netflix show. Okay, where's that? Hela is a convincing villain, but I know how this is gonna end with her as a filler villain for Thanos, just as the villain of the movie while we're waiting for Thanos. I hope she is treated better than Ultron and Mandarin. I think other than the fact that from what I heard from fans, because as I said, I'm not huge into Thor, but I don't hate it really, I'm not into it. I think it was I think other than the change, fans have pointed out that they changed part of her backstory. In the comics, she was Loki's son. For whatever reason, they didn't want to do that in this, so they made her Loki's daughter. I don't know if I said. I'm getting all flabbergasted. Loki's daughter, and then in this movie, she's Odin's daughter. So, I mean, I think, other than that little change, I think she was somewhat accurate to her character. The only other thing I've seen her in was, I watched Hulk Versus, which was two 40-minute, almost 40-minute movies, sort of. And one was Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine. She was in Hulk versus Thor. And also, another thing I should point out, all of the stuff I'm mentioning is obviously by order of when I saw it in the movie, so I don't have a lot of fancy smancy equipment, right now that I can just edit a video. I could do this off of Windows Movie Maker, but that would just take too long, and I'd just rather just get these thoughts out now instead of taking up 4 or 5 hours. I will say this, I think other than the little change between the whole thing, making her Odin's daughter instead of Loki's, I think other than that, I think that she was on par with the comic book character, so it wasn't they didn't jump the shark or anything like what they did with Ultron in Age of Ultron or Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Next thing I wrote, Valkyrie is awesome. This was when they showed Valkyrie, and I'm like, yes. And I say later on in my thing, give her a solo movie, please. Because she was a really cool character. So hopefully they'll use her in some other movies. The next thing was from the scene right before Thor meets the Grandmaster when he's strapped to the chair, and you get that little thing talking about who he is and who the Grandmaster is and whatever. I wrote, they used A World of Your Imagination from Willy Wonka. Okay, that was random. I added after that, this is when Thor is getting electrocuted. I wrote, I don't get why Thor keeps getting electrocuted. Isn't he supposed to be resistant to electricity? This is when he got the thing on his neck, and they kept using the taser him and stuff. I don't know. Maybe somebody will explain it in the comments. Okay. And this was when they started getting into the Planet Hulk stuff, which was kind of non-existent, really. Now we've gotten into Planet Hulk stuff. Rock Guy is okay, I guess. The next scene was, and at the time I just called him Rock Guy. I didn't know. Either I wasn't paying attention or I just didn't hear him say his name was Korg. So, yeah, or maybe he didn't say it. I don't know. I mean, I did watch it. Anyways, I I'm pretty sure he didn't say his name, but whatever. Somebody will probably correct me in the comments anyways. Kate Blanchett, and this was the scene when she was going to the treasure room. Kate Blanchett really found a way to be a good serious villain and not enter the slightly comedic writing when she's going through the treasure room. Like, oh, now that's not too bad. Like, I mean, it wasn't really comedic, but I mean, she found a way to make it work. So, and then the next part was when they showed Thor and Rock Guy and they were talking during the supposedly Planet Hulk stuff. Like, more jokes in the Planet Hulk stuff. Great. And then right as I wrote that, Valkyrie, like, right after, or I think right as I was writing great, Valkyrie showed up. And I wrote, oh, hello, more Valkyrie. Yes, she's my fave so far. Next thing was Stan Lee's cameo. I wrote, Stan Lee's cameo is always welcome, and him laughing over cutting Thor's hair is amusing. But Thor screaming, no, over losing his hair is a little ridiculous. Not that I care about Thor, not that I hate him either, but not that I really care about Thor, but comic book Thor wouldn't be screaming like a little kid over his hair, or his hair getting cut. I wrote, the Thor and Hulk fight is cool, no complaints here, and then I had to add, except that Grandmaster screwed up the end of it. Shame, I legit had no complaints. And then again, I guess he didn't want Thor to win, so I guess that's fair. Later scene was when Thor was talking to Hulk later, and that Hulk was in the hot tub. And then Hulk was getting out of the hot tub and he was naked. And then he was walking past, and then he was looking outside, and then you see his butt. So I wrote, with this movie, I can now say Hulk thick. Also, Thor saw Hulk's private bits. That's surprisingly not the most ridiculous thing to happen to Thor so far. And then Valkyrie showed back up again, and I wrote, yay, more Valkyrie, give this girl, I've already said that, give this girl a solo film, please. And then I wrote, and then it showed, like, Grandmaster's, like, home world, like all the buildings and stuff. And then I wrote, despite my don't give a shit attitude about this, the set and costume designs are amazing. The buildings on Grandmaster's homeworld are breathtaking. Like, they looked really cool. I liked that at least. So, I mean, see, I'm not hating on everything. I can play ball. I can credit something I like. I liked Valkyrie. I thought that was a cool intro scene for her. She's being drunk, devil may care, or whatever. What else on the thing? Okay. I wrote that. Okay. I wrote, okay, Planet Hulk materials over. What little there wasn't many. There wasn't much. With that said, to anyone who reads this or listens to this, because it's a video, just watch the Planet Hulk animated movie. Better adaptation and better movie. And I kind of agree. I liked that one. That one I could take more seriously. I don't think there was a huge amount of comedy in that, but I mean, it was intense. It was I think, like, it was, like, almost straight out of the comic books. I mean, I read, like, info online that it was almost perfect. There was, I think, one character they had to, leave out of the movie because they only had so much, like, time for the animated movie. There was one character and the character's arc that had to be left out. But, I mean, other than that, it was, like, from what I've heard from people, it was spot on. And I really liked the characters in the Planet Hulk animated movie. And, I mean, I think it'd be really cool if they brought back any of those characters in the comics. I don't know how I feel about Planet Hulk 2, where they're literally copying the same story, but with Amadeus Cho Hulk. If he's still going by Hulk, I think he went by a different name. I don't know. Anyways, and then I literally wrote, the next thing was, when Thor and Bruce Banner were in the city, in disguise and whatever. I don't know if it was shitty writing or the writers just forgot that Bruce stated he didn't want to fight any more evil things and then changed his mind just a few minutes later. And it's not just my attitude over it. People had legitimate criticism with this. It was in the freaking Honest trailer, for Pete's sake. And it was. They mentioned it that, like, literally 2-3 minutes after the, like, 2 to 5 minutes after the scene where he says, I don't want to fight anything anymore, he just changes his mind. That was odd. Okay, and I wrote, also Rocket has a name, Korg. I think I knew that before, but wasn't sure. And the next scene was, when the ship, Bruce Banner was piloting the ship, and was, and then he was, like, pressing all the buttons, and then one thing was, there was, like, some voice, I think it said, it's a surprise, or something, and then there was a bunch of fireworks going off, and I legit laughed. I thought it was funny. There's music going off, fireworks going off. That was hilarious. Okay. The next thing was they mentioned that the portal they were going into was called the Devil's Anus, and I'm like, do they really have to call the portal they are going into the Devil's Anus? Because that's just odd. But I've gotten this far, I'll just go with it. And I wrote the thing about Doctor Strange. Okay. And then this was right near the end, and then Thor starts getting, like, lightning all over his body, and his eyes light up. And I wrote, awesome! Thor has a power boost. Good. Makes up for the humiliating shit earlier. And then there was another cool battle scene, and they were fighting, like, Thor and Valkyrie and Hulk. And I think in Loki they were fighting a bunch of, like, Hela's forces, but the scene was like a minute. I wrote another cool battle scene as well, even if it's like about a minute. And then, and this was like right at the end, near the end, I wrote, well, Hela's dead, and Asgard is destroyed. I'm on the debate whether this really is filler until Infinity War. Probably is. Hela was irrelevant compared to Thanos in that arc. And I doubt Asgard's destruction will be a big deal in Infinity War, given that they're the whole Thanos thing. They'll probably mention Asgard, but they won't really go into it. But that's fair because they're fighting Thanos and it's Avengers and stuff. It will be a big deal in Infinity War or in the future, other than it meaning that Thor will always be on Earth now. And the movie ends with Korg making a joke. Of course. Why do some MCU movies insist on ruining serious moments like the end of Ragnarok with jokes? Korg's joke was amusing at the end, but still ruined a somber but hopeful ending of Thor and the rest of the Asgardians going to Earth. Like, the whole thing, like, where do we go? And it could have just ended with him saying Earth. That would have been an impactful scene. But then they're like, let's ask Korg and be like, oh, my buddy's dead. Oh, he's not dead. What was your question? It was amusing, but it wasn't needed right at the end of the film. Like, it could have, like, you could have had like a somber song go like, where do we, like, somebody asks him, where do we go? And he goes, Earth. And that's how it ends. But they had to screw it up with just needing a joke. Overall, and then I wrote as my thing, overall, I'll say this. This movie is better than Last Jedi, but it's not a standout hit like Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, or, in my opinion, Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. But at my time of writing this, I need to point out, at my time of writing this, I have not seen Black Panther. I think that it will be on par extremely with Winter Soldier, but I still need to see it so I can validate it. So I can be overall that can be valid in my opinion. Or valid just as a film. Because everybody loved Winter Soldier, and I'm hoping that Black Panther is like the next Winter Soldier. We need more films like Winter Soldier. Serious, but has like the right timing for jokes. Having jokes every 5 minutes or at odd places, it ruins the film. And that's why here, as of lately, the past couple years, I haven't been able to fully... Now, it works for... I think it works for Ant-Man. It works for Ant-Man because I've always thought, like, Ant-Man, that is kind of more... Ant-Man has more, I think, in the comics and stuff. has kind of a comedic tone. Has like a tone